Welcome to the Beet Goes On podcast. Today, I know I said that for the remainder of the year I was going to do Beettan only. However, this has a lot to do with being a female business owner and different things that you go through. I'm involved in other businesses outside of Beettan. I'm involved in real estate. I'm really involved in my community, but there are other things that I do to bring in revenue. Beettan is my main thing. But I've just had some experiences lately, and Missy is here with me because last year, Missy's really involved. She does a lot of the content creation. She's gone on trips with us to Nashville. She interacts with the partners. She helps plan events that we have. So she's got her fingers in a lot of things with Beettan. But I would say when I did the Dance with the Stars thing, she was there for me a lot. I was also going through a breakup. She also kind of showed up right after I had that weird theft thing with the company. So she's kind of seen the growth. And originally 10 years ago, she was a model for me. So she's kind of seen everything. So I wanted her because she's also a very intuitive person. And I just we're in an alignment with what, with how our values and how we want to run our life, our businesses, and really everything. So I'm just going to go right into it and then let Missy ping off of me. I've made notes because this is so important to me. I never make notes. I always wing it, but this was really important to me. And the first topic that I want to talk with Missy about is empowerment, not judgment. And this is a big thing. Why are we still policing women's bodies in 2024? And then I just wanted to dive into how women are still being judged for their appearance, from cleavage to clothing choices. Why are we still telling each other what's classy? And let's us break down outdated standards and discuss why it's time to support self-expression and not criticize it. So you and I think a lot alike, and I wanted to write these things down because it is still an issue.
It's definitely an issue. One, thank you for the nice intro, lovely and inspiring as always. But I felt very compelled to join you on this topic just because I feel like we are discussing off camera. There's a changing of the guards right now with kind of our culture, what's socially acceptable. Social media is definitely driving us to be leaning into embracing our authenticity and being ourselves. And I think that there's a little bit of friction and a gray area because on a high level corporate, backing, some things aren't as well received and judgments really thrown. There's a lot of toxic situations in the workplace for women in a corporate setting and also as female business owners.
What's really sad is sometimes the females are just as much as the problem is the leadership.
Yeah. And you would think we're all about sisterhood and women supporting women. But I was finding, as you invite me onto the show more, we'll unpack my background. But even just in the film industry, you would think that I had female bosses and women would support women because it's a male-dominated industry. But some of the women who I looked to as my boss or looked to as a mentor sometimes ended up being the most cutthroat people and the most judgmental and the people who actually what you would let them in so close and then they break you down the hardest.
And I really don't understand. In the line of work that I'm in, no matter what, I am for uplifting women. In fact, 99% of my clientele on both the real estate side and the Beettan side are women. So it's quite funny that that's also who are judging or who are, you would think that it would come from a man, someone who misunderstands fashion or authenticity or being yourself. I wake up and I put on, and I have that as a valid point for later, but it is just baffling to me at 2024. In 2024, has anybody ever watched Selling Sunset? Are you joking?
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why what someone else does and wears, how do you let that affect you, especially in an industry where you're an independent contractor. I wake up and I am my own brand and I am my own salesperson.
But I think that is what sets you apart and has served you well building your
Absolutely.
brand, especially because
I
like
will stand behind that 100%.
your brand also has turned into representing like female empowerment and
Exactly.
acceptance and community. So I think that it's hard when you're caught in a snag where like other industries don't support it or see it the same way.
Right.
When we were talking about this off camera earlier, I was explaining how being in the film industry, I had a boss once. I heard her like talking smack about me when I was just her assistant making $10 an hour. It was like a Devil Wears Prada scenario. But I told you how working in film, you kind of have to minimize and mute your femininity because you're working around men. One, they don't want you to be distracting. Two, you're working around men, and if like
do you feel like when you first start, like I think now, get me on this. I bartended. I've put in the work. I've done I have done all the jobs that you can do where you're going to deal with like the drunk dude, the sassy female, the whatever. You know, we're going to deal with that and is a part. But you know, there comes to a point where you really have to be true to yourself.
Yeah,
what point? I think when you're an assistant, like what did you learn from that?
Okay, so to clarify one thing, the ironic thing was like the objectiveness of like, oh, we don't want to, you know, get the male gaze and distract the whatever. Like that all didn't matter. Any man that I worked with is always respectful, always great. I know the industry is very dodgy, but circling back to saying, I heard my boss once talking shit about me to another department head because I wore a blouse, jeans, and boots to work.
It was cowgirl boots, right?
They were fry boots many years.
So
they're not as styling as I am now. But anyway, I just remember that didn't sit well with me because, you know, I was presentable. If I was in a corporate environment or working at a store, that'd be perfectly acceptable. But the theme that I was finding was if you came in being super hyper feminine, you were written off as being high maintenance. People didn't want to give you tasks. They didn't want to give you work. And like that was something that going from the film industry to corporate, I had to change my name. I go by Missy, even though me is Missy my whole life. But when I was like in boardrooms working with like CEOs and in the private equity scene, I had to change my name to Margaret because if you're sending emails and trying to get these, you know, high level people to answer your stuff,
sounds a little too prissy.
Missy is so easy to just brush off, especially these important people. But Margaret,
how freaking silly!
Margaret's annoying and gets the paychecks and gets it done. So nonetheless,
that is ridiculous.
Something I want to say though is when I set out on my own after all of that and started collaborating with you, you really inspired me because like obviously you're a very accomplished business owner and you do a lot of different you know, jobs isn't even the word, but you have your hand in a lot of different industries in Savannah. But you and a few other people are so accomplished and so inspiring. And like you can wear a crop top to work or a skirt or look presentable and like have that confidence. And I feel like it just like elevates everything that you're doing and brings it to another level. And so like I think we both got very passionate about this conversation.
What does that say about someone else who's so affected by that? I just don't.
I just think that it's something that is so in the past or like this is an old world problem, especially because we use social media for marketing. We use it for promoting.
And what I have learned in business is you've got to go with pivot and change. There are a lot of changes in many of the markets because of the economy and just the shift. I mean, the shift in culture. Like you have got to pivot and you've got to keep up with times. And if you're stuck in the past, you're going to be left in the past.
Yeah, you got to adapt and evolve. And you know what? I think like there was an isolated incident that we were talking about and you know, you posted something authentic to you for your personal page, whatever, and people saw it and people liked it. It hit, you know, over 1,000 views
in less than an hour,
or you know, it caught up or whatever. And guess what? That was a problem. But if you had posted the same thing, maybe wearing something different, maybe like on a different day, and it got 0 views, that would also be a problem. So how are you going to win here? Because half of the people want to buy in to your product, your business, the real estate properties that you show. They want to buy it mostly because you're selling it.
So if I'm not being authentically myself, what the fuck am I going to post?
And it's not going to show well if you start trying to like take your shine away or like mute yourself.
When I tone it down, it comes off, and you've seen me do this.
I know.
I've done this, and I just recently got out of a relationship where I toned myself down. So this recent chain of events was this person is telling me to tone it down. What is that saying? If I'm too much for you, maybe you're not enough.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to sell a product, if you want to sell houses, if you want to sell anything on social media,
you
the
have
first
to
thing is
be authentically yourself. Otherwise, it's going to get lost in the sauce of every other post.
Exactly. Tell the truth and be yourself. And if it's a good thing, people will come, people will invest, people will take notice.
So the next thing this is a good, the next thing that I have is dress for yourself, not for them. Challenging double standards in female empowerment. I'd like to have a conversation about ways that society tries to dictate how women should dress and behave, and why it's no one's business how a grown woman chooses to express herself. What gives others the right to decide what's appropriate? What does give somebody else what's appropriate and what's not? Let's talk about embracing confidence at every age.
Yeah, and I think that we're breaking out of conforming. I think that our whole life, we were in the 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s.
I think
we were
really,
conforming.
that's when I think even pop culture was a lot about breaking out of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every generation has had it, but I think that women are really coming into their own. I think there's like radical versions of it, which, I'm still not used to myself, but I think showing a little bit of tit, a little bit of you can have cleavage and still be classy. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
That is fine.
I mean, something that I was thinking about on the walk over here was the comparison of like Legally Blonde. I think Reese Witherspoon hit the nail on the head as Elle Woods being, a sorority girl who loves wearing pink and is so hyper feminine and so opposite of what Harvard Law School, students are supposed to be. But that is the direction that we're going in. Mm-hmm. If you can
it's on the other person. If they think someone is stupid because they're wearing pink, if they think someone is stupid because their name is Missy, that is on them, and they are missing the opportunity to work with them.
It's their loss.
It's their loss. I think that was, the dressing thing is one thing. And then the next note that I put is the real meaning of empowerment, how to uplift, not tear down. And then I have to brag. I have some bragging that I have to do. I've trained over 400 women how to start and run their own business. I've learned that true empowerment is support, acceptance,
radical acceptance,
and celebrating each other's wins, no matter what anyone is wearing. Let's discuss why judging someone based on their appearance goes against the spirit of empowering women. It goes against empowering anyone. It is not my decision to decide what is appropriate, inappropriate at all. I take a lot of pride in the fact that I'm authentically myself to these women. I will typo a damn email. I will laugh at myself. When I get on those lives every Tuesday with these hundreds of women, and they're successful from what they learn from me, with my typos, with my tit out, and I'm just joking.
I've never seen your tits out.
My tits never been out. I know that I dress really classy and nice. It's just some shit hit me sideways this week, and I'm addressing it.
Well, I think too, the whole root of this is feeling misunderstood when you're just trying to be authentically yourself.
Exactly.
Because this wasn't a swing and a miss. No. This was something that once again you knocked out of the park. And I do think that there is an effective outcome to you being vulnerable and leading with your heart, and you with the typos, and showing these women that it's okay to try and it's okay to make mistakes. And I think that we live in a culture where the older generations, I'm sorry if I'm generalizing, but the older generations are so fixated on the pageantry of
yes.
what our reputations are or what our social media looks like, and not a hair can be out of place, and everything has to be dictated properly, and no ums or ahs or mistakes.
And
that's boring.
My life I just do not lead my life that way. I rock the boat. In a good way.
Pole dancing at Dancing with the Stars, in a classy, tasteful way.
And I'm not gonna, like I said, if I'm too much for you, then maybe you're not enough for me.
I think that we also you've evolved to a spot where playing it safe, you push the line and you're always like breaking boundaries and finding new levels and elevating and like playing it safe doesn't serve you.
I'm not even going to defend I know that I do not do it in an offensive way. I, however, was offended by this situation, and I was offended, but I was not trying to offend anyone. That's where it just wasn't fair. It wasn't right. It just wasn't.
Well, it just makes you feel shot
right.
down when you were feeling excited and good and like, putting out something that was really popular.
I was just woke up, put on some damn clothes from a very expensive rental service that I had, and I just so happen to have double D's. It's just life. And
I wish I had that problem, girl.
Dress on right now.
But I think circling back to your brand and what Beettan really represents is like authentic women who are feeling empowered, trying to run a business. And like you spray tan.
And not everybody has to run their business that way. I think I was just shocked. I will peacefully part. But from that situation and those people, I will, because that's on them. I'm not here to put posters in front of their business, and I think that's not my personality either.
No.
I'll rock the boat, but I'm not going to be.
Think about how controversial your brand is. That like your clients are nude, they're disrobed or whatever, and even the way that you market your brand does not nod to like what was being said.
No,
it doesn't. It's just unfair. It's
not in alignment with me. I think I just was really thrown off guard by how prude it was, I guess is the word.
Well, what is this, Footloose in the 1950s? Like,
so the next thing is breaking the mold, why confidence shouldn't come with conditions. And then I put at 41, my passion, and this is really why this whole episode was important to me. At 41, my passion is helping women feel good about themselves, their bodies, and their ambitions. I wanted us to explore why empowering each other means accepting diverse choices and understanding that if it's not hurting anyone, this is so important. If it's not hurting anyone, it simply doesn't matter. Let's encourage a culture of self-love and mutual support. And I didn't feel that in that situation, and I had to step away. And I kind of was shocked by like how others around me who knew the situation, how they responded. And then it kind of makes you like take a step back and think and this has been me for the last couple of years. You've seen this. I've like X'd some people out of my life. I've tried to bring some people back in, and not that they're like bad. They're just bad for me. They're not a match for me. I thought the next thing that I said was funny. From the boardroom to the beach, it's time to let go of respectability. It's time to let go of respectability politics. Why are we still concerned with labeling women as classy or trashy based on their appearance? It's time to let go of these outdated ideas and focus on what really matters: confidence, authenticity, which is, we've said that how many times? Authenticity, and lifting each other up in every aspect of life. And that, I think and this was number 6, confidence over conformity. I've spent years building a community of women within my business. And one thing I've learned is that empowerment is about creating a safe space for all women to be themselves. Let's talk about how we can support each other, me and you, for how we can support each other without conforming to outdated ideas and what's quote unquote acceptable. And what all these points were, they're all kind of saying the same thing. In this situation, and these were just like the topics that I wanted to make sure that you and I touched on, that I wanted to put out there because it's really important. I want anyone to feel comfortable in me and my company and my business. I want them to feel comfortable showing up authentically themselves. Sometimes I think with my company, people show up and they feel like they should do everything like me. I don't want them to be like me. I want them to be like themselves. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not getting that same respect from a coworker, a friend, a company or a colleague that I'm working with in whatever aspect it is, wherever I'm working, whoever I'm working with, if I'm not getting that same respect, I am going to peacefully part. I am not going to shake things up. I am just going to X you out of my life because it is not at all what how I want to do business, or really how I want to do life.
Yeah. And I think this isn't like about, professional differences, creative differences, or whatever.
Separating yourself from things that are not in alignment.
I think this is about protecting your peace.
Hell yeah.
And this is obviously like a new age issue that I think a lot of people like have to deal with. And I relate to this a lot just from like being in the film industry for almost 10 years and how like it's very hard to climb the ladder as a woman to begin with, but then you have to not be yourself as well, and you have to kind of mute
to tone. It's you're entertaining negativity. You're conforming to something that's not in an alignment or with you authentically. Now, I know like sometimes like my family's super religious and they do things a little different. They do spirituality and religion and with God a little differently than me. And around them, I respect them. We have so much more of a choice now. Like you've started your own company, you're doing your own things. I am so proud that at this point in my life, I have the choice.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have made the choices. I know that like I had to go through life and I had to like suck it up. And when I was working under someone, do things their way. But in all positions that I'm in life now, I'm a business owner or an independent contractor, and I have the choice.
Well, you have the right to express yourself however you see fit, whatever is true to you. And like you have every right to exercise your autonomy. Our rights are getting very limited in this country too. So I feel like, you need to just do what is right for you and not let the naysayers. Like honestly, in a lot of marketing with other clients within my business, if you're not rocking the boat and making people react and have something to say, you're not doing it right. If you're playing it safe and being pageantry and sitting in that box that everyone's expecting for you to, you're never going to expand and grow and become popular.
I think the biggest thing for me, and you know this about me, it's not about the money.
No.
It's about waking up every day and loving what I do and loving the people that I do it with and supporting them. Anybody that knows me knows my heart is bigger than my wallet for sure. And the reason is because I'm usually giving it away. No, I'm not. But I'm just saying money is not the drive for me. And I think some people it is. Like, we're all different and you can tell. And you really can tell. But it's a shame that like the brands like in certain industries, let's say there are like 5 in this, we'll just say, in this box, in this industry, there are 100 different brands in Savannah. If yours is just like the others, and if you go to different like real estate, for instance, if you go to real estate social medias, websites, they're all they all
look the same,
exactly the same.
And that's where like I was finding in corporate
with a different logo,
you fall into like a rinse and repeat cycle. Oh, yeah. And despite like a lot of marketing initiatives and like all the big budgets, a lot of the time the protocols that their brand has or whatever regulations, wardrobe, look and feel, copywriting, all of that, it can actually just kind of like hinder and take away. Like we're just living in an age where if you're not being true to yourself and authentic and like pushing your boundaries and barriers, they'll just keep swiping.
My brain and my brain just doesn't work that way. Like I can't also on the other side of it, I can't live my life that way. I'm glad that it performs well on social media, but I can't live my life by waking up and being worried about who I'm going to offend for the clothes that I buy and wear on my body
and post on your personal page or all that.
When I say something that's grammatically incorrect, if I write something like whatever it is, like I don't have the biggest vocabulary. I don't give a fuck. I have accomplished so much in my life. I read, I study, I know I'm confident. And I know that I'm a very, very smart woman. And we all have strengths and weaknesses. And I am very proud of my strengths. But you know what? I'm very proud of my weaknesses. And I will lay those out. I don't have to tuck them away or pretend to be anything that I'm not. And I wish that we all live that way. But I also love others that way. Like I said, with my company, I want the women to show up and be 100,000% themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that
I don't want them to show up any other way.
I agree. And, working with Beettan over the past 2 years, I think we see a lot of that in your spray tan partners. There's a lot of authenticity in different styles and different backgrounds and different areas of the country with different types of clientele and customers,
Yes.
And everybody, I find what I love the most about working with you guys at Beettan is the community and the authenticity, and just I never hear behind the scenes or in the groups or whoever I'm interviewing They're never like talking smack or tearing down the other partners, even if like, there are some partners I notice who like step up and are kind of like the
like they
bigger
lead a little bit.
sisters. Yeah. And they take the
lead
initiative, but like,
and mentor where the others are the ones getting mentored. But it's really cute to see when they transfer
yeah.
and they mentor today.
Or they evolve into
today
that.
we did an interview with one of them, and she's a little quieter, but she had like a totally different way of mentoring than anybody has. And I think that that's awesome. She said or did nothing wrong on the interview. It was way more chill. The one before that, the Jackie, she was real high energy like me. And she does Reiki, and I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then
Yeah.
Jessica, the girl we interviewed today, is a school teacher on the side. So it's really beautiful when they, when they feel comfortable enough to do business and do things their way. And I'm so proud that that is the community and the culture that we've created at Beettan.
Yeah.
And I will not be a part of any other anything, whether it's dating, a business, a colleague, a client. I just will not be involved in a culture that doesn't accept someone fully for who they are and is going to nitpick them based on the way they speak, the way they dress. I'm just not going to do
what they post, anything. And
anything.
I think that that is something that makes Beettan so authentically special. And I really hope that the rest of the world can catch up with that, because you're obviously like leading with your
they're
heart.
going to miss out on a lot of wonderful people, and I refuse to miss out on anyone. On anyone who wants to be themselves, unless themselves is an asshole. I'd be happy to miss out on the assholeness.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I appreciate you letting me come out from behind the curtain to talk about this, because I really don't think there's a lot of space or platforms where we can discuss this.
We had to do a different podcast interview today, and I woke up. I'm very proud of where I come from and where I am now. And I've got a lot of cool shit left to do. And I was shocked. I was shocked by the situation that happened, and then the lack of understanding and I mean, I don't even know what the word is, like, of everyone involved. The reaction and I just had to take a step back and be like, that I do not have to deal with this. That's the beauty of it. I can step away from this without anger, without anything. I just don't need it in my life.
Yeah. And no matter what the circumstance.
And I'm so lucky that I have that option.
Indeed.
To do so. Some people need their income. They have to show up to work every day. And if you're that person, don't get your head down. Get yourself out of the situation if it's not in alignment with you. Even if it's some stupid ass little comment that some stupid ass said, get out of it. If it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel right for you, separate yourself from it, because you have people out there who are like you, and that will build you up and are in alignment with more positive values and more uplifting. We're here to uplift each other. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for the nitpicking bullshit.
Well, I think also, no matter what the situation was or the circumstance, that could have been handled in a more graceful way as well. I'm in a position in life where no one is going to tell me their opinion on what they think is appropriate with my personal page, website, wardrobe. They're just not. And I will move on. Yes. And I think some like parting wisdom for me before I go like back behind the camera is I spent so much of my career like chasing this dream of like being in the film industry or, going to Hollywood or whatever. And what it really ended up allotting to was I spent many years of my life compromising my own values and going against like maybe my beliefs or being put in situations where I kind of had to like put myself, my safety or like my values aside because I had to like get that paycheck to pay my rent. And like we're always settling and compromising, but I feel like I didn't reach my true inner self and inner authenticity until I like had the balls to go off on my own.
And I almost did that this morning because I've been in exactly the same shoes. I have multiple stories where I did take something I shouldn't have. I took something and that didn't make
Yeah,
me
you're
feel
swallowing
good.
it.
I just swallowed it and packed it in and just kept moving forward because I was a single mom trying to pay the bills. I dealt with bosses who were inappropriate. I've had bosses that were almost abusive verbally.
Yep.
And I took it and I took it and I took it. And I almost did this morning. When I got the phone call, I was like, oh, okay, I'll remove it. And then I was like, and then I don't
I would have
know.
been like, wait, what? What am I
And
doing?
then I was like,
what am I
well,
doing?
then I like pulled it up and realized how dumb and who can decide what is appropriate. Like that, it was so well done. I'm not even going to go into detail about it. I was like, I do not agree with this. And I don't have to agree with this. And I'm offended. And I don't think I want to work with these people anymore.
Yeah. And I think this is something we will.
And nothing against them. You do you, boo. But you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do.
Exactly. And in Savannah,
I wasn't hurting anyone. I
Yeah.
wasn't doing anything illegal. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything
you weren't.
inappropriate in anyone's eyes. Like it was very professionally done. They just did not like my outfit. And that is fucked up.
Yeah. And that is something that we need to leave behind as we go into 2025. And I'm very proud of you for taking this scenario. We don't have to go into detail, but using this platform as your show as a way to like advocate for yourself and also encourage your listeners.
And hopefully other people. Yeah. And it's okay. The situation that I was in with the person that like, it doesn't even matter who or what or when. Like I am not getting involved in gossip. So nobody even ask. But I will say it's okay. I will still root her on. I will still be like, I don't hate her. I'm not mad at her. It is just not in alignment with how I live my life. And I'm not going to change who I am for anyone else.
Yeah. And the worst thing in dating, in jobs, in everyday life is as women, modern, intelligent, self-starter women, we're often asked to like shrink ourselves down.
Exactly.
Don't take up space. I've been in a lot of relationships where like they wanted to like dull my shine because they didn't shine as bright as I did. And it's like, you need to use your own discernment.
Or they'll dull your shine down, but also like, why does it offend you? Why are you that worried about it? I just don't, that's not how my brain works at all. And I just don't want to be around it. But the beauty is you can walk away. And here's what's really cool about situations like this before we end this episode. What's really cool about situations like this is every single time I go through something that puts a fire inside of me. And thank you for doing that to me, because I guarantee you it will make me more successful in that industry, because I am one of those people, and Missy knows this about me. When stuff like this happens, I level up every single time. No one is going to make me feel like that. And it's not even like vengeful. It really is like fuel to my fire. It always helps me. So I'm thankful for everyone who, did something that made me pivot or shift or stand up for myself or love myself more or figure out a way to find more confidence in whatever it was. Thank you. I'm not mad at you. I will level up. I always do.
Yeah. And I think that you're going to bring your whole business and your whole community up to another level as well.
Because I didn't back down and change who I am for someone else.
Listen, if you can't be true to yourself, what the heck are we doing?
What am I even doing here? You only have one life to live.
Exactly. So,
well, I think that's a good way to end it. I appreciate you letting me kind of vent, but it wasn't really a gossip. I think it just was something that switched on me today, and I was like, you know what? I have choices, and some things are hard. I don't love change. Sometimes it's hard to pull away from things or situations, but and none of these people are bad people. Again, it's just not in alignment with me. And sometimes it's like we get stuck in a rut. We get stuck in a cycle. For me, it's time for change. It's just time.
Yeah. And I appreciate you inviting me on to be a guest on your show, because this is something I have been experiencing for a lot of my professional life. And it was very refreshing to just like have a minute to kind of just talk and discuss, because there aren't books, there aren't like Devil Wears Prada maybe is the closest thing.
Right.
But, you know, there aren't a lot of spaces or platforms where this particular topic can be like discussed and explored. And I think that's really like, we're not trying to bash people.
And all people should treat people with respect, and especially women. Come on, treat other women with respect. Just do it.
Yeah. Respect, encouragement, support, empowerment. And these are all values that I think, you know, fall right behind Beettan and what you're working towards. So
that's what goes with my brand.
Anyway, I'm very proud of you, and I'm excited to see what you do next with all of this.
And now we go on dates.
Yes, we're going on a double date now. Anyway,
I will tuck these titties away for that date.
Yes. And once again, I appreciate you having me on the show. I know we kind of talked about doing a more formal interview about me and my business, but
let's do that.
We can do that at another time. But I'm forever grateful just for the opportunities that you give me, and especially modern topics like this.
I love it. It was a good topic. It was needed. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Subscribe on YouTube. Bye.
All the things.